All right, guys, Jason Payne, your host of the Sexy Business Status Podcast, and I have my friend Jashin Howell.
You're just joshing me, right?
I'm just Josh. Oh gosh, here we go. Yeah. So from the Fan Project, we're going to get into the Fan Project. We're going to get into Jason's story. We're going to get into all those things. But if you're watching, if you're listening, if you've never met Jason, he's a friend of mine. We're doing some stuff together. We run the same circles. Have a lot of the same mutual friends that are grinding and kicking butt, taking names. How did we first meet? You remember?
It was
probably Josh Tilley.
Yeah, was it Josh Tilley's event.
Closer Champions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense. Good old Josh Tilley. He's a good cat. I need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, you do.
We did a little brief one for his event. Anyways, okay. So what we're going to talk to today is, Jason has a story, but I also want you guys to understand that this podcast is meant for everybody, but specifically men 25 to 45 years old, mostly blue collar, right? Small business owners, because that's, you're a reflection of that, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And that are either we're struggling, are struggling, or are going to struggle. Right? It's like you either went through the shit and you're out of it, or you're in the shit right now and you're knee deep, or you're going to get your teeth kicked in and you just haven't got your teeth kicked. You're like, this hasn't happened to me yet. Like, we're talking about getting sued. Like, you're not big enough if you haven't gotten sued yet. Yeah. It's like, you haven't made big enough moves if you haven't gotten sued yet.
That's right.
And they're like, oh, what do you mean? And sure enough, 6 months later, 2 years later, after they start scaling, they're like, oh, I got my first lawsuit. And I'm like, welcome to the jungle, man. It's inevitable. Even the best of the best companies deal with that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, tell us where you're from, how you created the Fan Project, and then we'll get into your actual story in a second. But walk us through who you are, married, kiddos, all that stuff, living here in Phoenix, and then tie that into the Fan Project.
Yeah. So live in Gilbert, Arizona, with my wife Tanya. We have 4 kids together. Actually, 3 kids together. I have an older one. I found out you can have a kid without getting married. So I had
one of those. All right.
Had a child out of wedlock. Her name's Jasmine. She's got 2 littles right now. Unfortunately, she just got a divorce. Right.
So you're a grandpa.
I'm a grandpa.
Nice.
Yeah. Crazy. I know I don't look it, but maybe here I do. But
salt and pepper. And I was like, I feel like I could be a grandpa. Yeah, holy crap.
Totally. Yeah. So, I'm from Tucson originally.
So you're from here? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've lived in Arizona most of my life.
Tucson, are you an Arizona Wildcats fan?
Because only in basketball.
I might charge you to release this podcast. Only in basketball. Yeah. That's the only thing you're good at.
I know. Exactly.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So I was
like, bro, you're in Sun Devil Nation in this room.
Yes,
so
totally.
That's awesome. Cool. So from Tucson.
Yep.
How'd you meet your wife?
Actually, a pretty cool story. So I'm a convert to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I was just about to turn 30, and I was in these singles wards.
Yep.
And so I was going to this Institute of Religion class, and one day we showed up, and there's usually like 200 to 300 cars in the parking lot, but no one was there except for one person. And so she was there. It was like at night I saw this silhouette of
one car.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a silhouette of a woman, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I walk up and I read the sign. It said, no, there's a bonfire. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot they
canceled the class. It's somewhere else.
Exactly.
You didn't get the memo.
Yes.
Or you forgot.
Well, we were both there the week before. And so we see that our kids put their, our soon-to-be kids.
Sure.
We're kind of keeping things moving along. So, yeah, so we met. We started dating. She served the mission in Australia.
Nice.
And so in her book, I'm looking through her book and her mission book, and I saw this guy that taught me the discussions in Wisconsin, which is where I got baptized.
What?
I'm like, I don't ride bikes that far.
Yeah.
And so turns
and you're
out,
in Arizona.
And I was in Wisconsin when I got baptized.
Okay.
We were in Arizona when, we were dating.
But when did you meet at the Institute building?
Yeah. In
Arizona.
In Gilbert. Stapley in Mesa.
Yeah, but in Phoenix, not in Wisconsin.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the other part of the freaking country.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes. And so the cool thing is that she was serving a mission with a twin brother that taught me the discussions. And so, and taught me about
in
the church.
Australia.
Yeah.
Small freaking world.
I know. So all these small, cool coincidences happened for us to help us
awesome.
out that we were going to be married.
So married, 4 kiddos, couple of grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. So get married, start having kids, business wise. What do you this can actually tie into your personal story too, as you,
Yeah.
was the addiction before, the addiction stuff was before that, right?
It was before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack, right? You went to high school in Tucson
Yep. Palo Verde High School, Tucson, Arizona. Yeah.
and then you started making some significant mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I did it before then, though.
Before high school.
Yes. So I got into drugs when I was about 13. Started smoking cigarettes.
How did you get into that?
Mom.
Because those that so this is more for parents that have teenagers. Like,
Yeah.
pay attention to these triggers. Like, there's certain things that your kids do that you don't know that they're doing at that young of an age that they get exposed to where you can be. Dude, I have a 16-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, I have a 7-year-old, and I have a 5-year-old, and then 7 months. But like, my 11-year-old,
thick of it right
he's
now.
he's getting exposed to all kinds of shiz right now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, holy crap.
Absolutely.
Man, it's not like helicopter dad, but it's like, dude, hey, you're going to see this, you're going to watch this, you're going to hear this, whether you choose to or not. Here's how to react and protect yourself and all those things.
Totally.
So at 13 years, you get exposed.
Well, I got exposed. My mom, I grew up in a single parent home, only child. My mom married a guy that shot cocaine. She thought she could change him, but instead she joined him. So I grew up in addiction. All my parents and my grandparents smoked. My grandfather was an alcoholic. So I just kind of fell into the same statistical traps.
Your family tree's
Yeah. Yeah. So
wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what to say other than it sound like a dick. Like it
is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ran away from home at 16 because I'm like, Mom, you got to have to choose between my stepdad or me.
You saw that from.
I saw it then, even though I was using, I didn't get into the heavy stuff yet.
Okay.
And it was then that I decided,
13, you're in freaking junior high.
I know. Yeah. Smoking pot, drinking alcohol. It's like, and a lot of my friends, had great parents that didn't teach that stuff. But again, like, you got to know what your kids are doing. Like,
well, and if you're the adult doing it, it's like, you can't be like, don't shoot cocaine. It's like,
that's right.
Hold my needle for me. Like, geez Louise, bro. Or like, hey, go buy me a pack of Marlboro. Like, if you buy yourself one, like, whatever. I don't care. So, like, first of all, be the freaking example.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Totally. Yeah. So
fast forward, you basically come to a tea with your mom and say, hey, like, either pick him or pick me, but this ain't going to work.
Yep. Exactly. Ran away from home. She ended up leaving him. They were still kind of, just kind of separated.
Sure.
He ended up passing away. He got in an accident, lost his eye, which really accelerated their addiction. Because they would be up all night and I would be on restriction all the time. And like, I didn't have a relationship. It was really weird.
Jeez.
And so that's what I grew up in. But then I started getting into that same stuff with my friends, right? So I started
in high school?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Started using drugs, cocaine, and then.
But you go to high school, obviously they're gateway drugs, right? The vaping and the cigarettes and and
alcohol,
tobacco, like even just like soft, like just beer, right? And then those are all gateways to heavier, deeper, more intense stuff.
Yeah.
How does that happen in high school?
Right now, today?
Today
It starts in the home. The first addiction is a device. It's a screen. It's highly addictive, creates dopamine in the brain, does the exact same thing that drugs and alcohol do. And we're handing it to kids like candy. It's our new passive parenting tool. And so now
leave me alone. I'm tired. Here you go. Leave me alone. I want to watch my own show.
That's right.
Leave me alone. I got to do X project.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not trying to hurt them.
No,
you're just like
we didn't know any better.
You're trying to distract them.
I think more people are aware now of how important it is to be intentional in the time that we spend with our kids and limiting how much time they have on screens. Right. So between 2 and 8, a lot of times we're handing kids this device.
2 and 8 years old.
Yeah.
Sure.
Most people are handed some kind of a screen, iPad, whatever, right?
Sure.
And again, this is like the imprint period of a child's life, and we're giving them something that will take them down some paths that you don't necessarily want them to go. The free games that are out there actually have racy stuff that you don't want your kids seeing. Yep. You were talking earlier. It's like, man, I got to have conversations with my kids before I thought I would ever have to have conversations with my kids. Because between ages 8 and 11, kids are turned on to pornography. Pornography is the new drug of the day. The gateway drug is now technology. The new drug is pornography. And there's so much shame.
Because porn back in the day was magazines, right? There wasn't, the internet wasn't even around, let alone on a screen. It was like you had Motorola flip phones that didn't have a screen, right? But now you have a screen with full internet everywhere. 24/7.
Absolutely.
And then that naturally turns into Pornhub or whatever, just some sort of access.
Yes.
And then from there, then it goes, because then that just opens up.
It opens up a whole world that you don't want your kids exposed to.
Ever.
This is where
not even teenagers or adults.
It's not just a kid problem either. It's not a tech problem. This is a parenting challenge. I won't say it's a parenting problem, but this is what parents have to solve today. It's like, how do I raise my kids?
It's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
I tell people like, don't bring me a problem, bring me an opportunity. Yes. I have an opportunity for you. Sure, what's up?
Yeah, what's good? What's
that? Be like, it's a effing nightmare of an opportunity. That's fine, but don't give me problems. Right. I get problems all the time. I don't need problems. Give me an opportunity. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I love that.
So
I don't know if people, the statistic that I got from Bitdefender, the 10 and under age bracket represents 22% of the online porn consumption of the 18 and under age group.
1 out of 5.
Yeah. We know that about 97% and about 83%, 97% of boys and 83% of girls have some exposure to pornography on a regular basis. I mean, ultimately, they're targeting our youth. They want to raise this next generation addicted to this. Yeah,
you don't want to start when you're 35 because it's 10 times harder to crush them at 35 when you start them in the beginning.
Absolutely.
And less supervision.
Yes.
Less awareness.
Well, and how
less
many
self-control.
People are we talking to now, young entrepreneurs, that still have a porn addiction, and it started when they were 10, 11, 12, right?
Yeah, so obviously it's confidential, but like I've done PPFs. You know what PPFs are? Mm-mm. So Natalie and Brandon Dawson teach us called personal professional financial goals. So they're like little mini audits, personal audits with your team members, but it's about their personal goals. So like 3 personal goals, 3 professional goals, 3 financial goals. Like, hey, what are you working on? Oh, I want to get out of student loan debt. I want to pay off this credit card. I want to get my first brand new car instead of this clunker. I want to whatever, right? And then personal goals. I want to lose 15 pounds. I want to get jacked. I want to I want to make date night a priority instead of an accident, right? Those type of things. Yeah. And so you use those with your team members, and obviously they're confidential, right? That trust factor there. But over the years, I've known them for, 5 years. And I've had multiple people tell me in those interviews that they're addicted to porn. And I'm in a roofing company. But like when you get on that surface, you like when you break, like I call it the onion effect. When you break down those layers of onions and you can get that trust level, that trust factor there, like they'll tell you, like people like, being cheated on or cheating on or those type of things, addictions. I'm like, hey, like, why are you doing this? Oh, it's because we're going to go to bed. Oh, it's because of this. Wait, what? Like, hey, let's fix this because this is going to cost you your job if you're not careful, and probably your marriage and your relationship with your kids and right?
Yes.
So, oh man, we could talk about this all day long. This is so good. But, So talking about screens and devices leading into pornography. Because it's literally right there. Because back in the day it was magazines, right?
Yeah.
But now because literally just
but now it's like accessible everywhere. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you think about it, the shame and secrecy tied to that addiction, porn, that is, leads to substance abuse, right?
Yep.
So like this is the new pathway that people move through addiction and into heavier things. I think a lot of gender dysphoria, a lot of people that are challenged with that are actually getting into hardcore porn that might be, girl and girl and boy and boy.
Yeah,
and this is where they start questioning things,
homosexual,
right?
bisexual,
Absolutely.
trans, like you name it.
That's it. Yeah. And I see that this is a lot of the challenges that people are facing today, but this is the genesis of why they're facing those challenges. And then like when I first started the FAM project, this was back in 2019, OUR, Operation Underground Railroad, fighting the supply side of human trafficking.
I love that movie, by the way. Some people can't see it because it just
the Sound of Freedom.
Them.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of the other ones that he did prior to that, right? But I saw, he's saying, letting us know that, hey, our country's the #1 producer and consumer of child exploitation material. Our country, the United States, right? And so I'm looking at, oh my gosh, if we're raising kids to be
we founded it and we fund it.
Right. Absolutely. But we're creating the users. Like, I love these human trafficking organizations because they're fighting the supply side, but who's fighting the demand in the first place?
Yeah.
That starts in our homes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the FAM project actually birthed.
I've heard that before. And like the analogy of a weed, like you pull a weed, you got to pull the weed at the root, not the top.
Yeah.
A lot of times if you don't grab it good enough by the root doesn't come out, you yank the top off.
Absolutely.
And then the weed grows right back.
That's
right.
right.
Like you got to dig down under the rocks, under the gravel, get into the dirt and pull that root out, and then it doesn't grow back.
Well, it's like the layers of the onion that you're talking about when you're talking to your employees, right? If you don't get to the actual core issue of what their challenge is, and they don't expose or let go of some of the stuff that they're hanging on to, I tell you, that secrecy and shame is what keeps people stuck in the lowest level energy and vibrational way of being that you can possibly be. Shame is I'm a bad person. Guilt is I did a bad thing. So at least you're separating yourself from who you are.
Those are two different things.
Absolutely.
Shame and guilt are two different things.
That's right.
Yeah.
One's good because at least it makes you think, oh my gosh, I can do better.
Well, there's awareness.
It's not who you are. Right?
And there's acknowledgement and recognition of X.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So you get into this. So you go from, like I said, those drugs, because like I said, crazy enough, you see all these things online right now, how, the alcohol industry is just tanking, right? Because everybody's like, this is actually not, like, we partied and like, we don't want to party anymore.
Right.
And the guys come out, they're like, all my parents partied and I don't want to be like them. Right. Or they're still partying and they're 50s and 60s and 70s, whatever. And they're like, so the alcohol industry is just tanking, like first time in who knows how long.
That's great.
By billions of dollars. So that's not that's not the continuous drug that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was our thing because technology wasn't here yet, right?
Yeah.
iPads and iPhones and screens were not available, right? It was, if anything, it was Microsoft, a black screen with green letters, right? Remember that?
Right.
Remember those computers back in the day? Or if you're like, I'm dating myself a little bit, but you got Oregon Trail. That was like our version of porn. That was as bad as we got. We got to see, little, did you ever play that game or see that game? No. Oh my gosh, I'll show it to you later. It's called the Oregon Trail. It's the funniest. Anyways, about like pioneers crossing, and it's like your kid got such and such fever, and this, and your wagon dumped over. Anyways, long story, tangent here, but point of it being is that like that wasn't accessible, but alcohol and soft drugs and eventually hard drugs were.
Yeah.
Right. Cocaine's been around since Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Right. So
totally
bringing that, but now you have this new drug, this new addiction that is
affecting everyone.
It's accepting everywhere.
Yeah.
Here's a screen. There's no like, oh my gosh, because if you like had porn on a TV or on a screen and you're sitting at the airport or you give it to your kid and they're watching it, people would be like, dude, like turn that off, turn that off.
Right.
But if it's just a game or just an app, it's okay.
Yeah.
If it's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, it's okay.
But we don't know that it's designed to actually be addictive, right?
Yes.
And so it's
programming.
rewiring their brain. Absolutely.
Yes. One of my favorite words of 2020, I have like favorite words, 2026. One of them is grooming or programming. Like it's because it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like I didn't grow up, I had the exact opposite lifestyle than you. Right. Like if I swam on Sunday, I was going to hell. Like that was like that's how I grew up. Right.
Yeah.
You have a family meeting, like you're in deep crap.
I know your family. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have amazing parents.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I grew up in that kind of a household because God's like, I'm going to put you in a decent one. Because if you're in a shitty one, you'd probably OD and die. Like you would died in Tucson. But okay. So we fast forward to that. So talking about drugs and addiction and screens being the new addiction, what actionable items? So I teach this in scale, right? So I'm a huge, I hate podcasts. I hate events. I hate conferences. I hate talks. I hate anyone or anything that doesn't leave me with an actionable item to implement into my life. It could be my business, could be my workout, could be my family, could be my sex life, could be my relationship with my kids, anything, but leave me with an actionable item to do better in my life. So knowing that and teaching those that are listening that this isn't a drug, give them one or two significant nuggets that they can take back into their home, because it starts in the home, to either fix it or prevent it from happening.
Delay is the way, right? So don't give your kids a screen. Like, why do we need to give them a screen? Because every other kid has a screen, and now they come to you and say, hey, Dad, I want this thing, right? Just resist
instead of a soccer ball or whatever.
Absolutely. I see that like
a puzzle.
Something
Heaven
different.
forbid you get something that doesn't have sound on it. Yeah.
Hey, let's do something different with our time, because otherwise it's going to be occupied by that. When you look at overcoming any addiction, you have to have two things. Number one is human connection, right? That's the antidote to addiction. And then number two is alternative.
Say that first one again.
Human connection.
Love it.
Well, actually,
dude, COVID effed us up so bad.
Absolutely.
So
6
bad.
feet, yeah.
By like Zoom calls and not being in the same room and not being together and watching your freaking grandparents die in the hospital, or watching your wife give birth because you can't, that kind of shit. Oh, don't even start on that part.
Gosh. But absolutely.
Like, it's crazy. So that's why, for Scale, I don't do online. I'm actually going to offer it to those that like live in Wisconsin that want me to coach.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to drive to, fly to Wisconsin every Tuesday or to Arizona. But my program, they're like, we demand that it be in person. My rapping chats are in person.
Every
people are begging.
It. Absolutely.
One of my favorite words too, crave. Like they're begging for that personal face-to-face connection that was there in the 90s and early thousands, and then the last 10 years last 15 years has gone away. The last 5 years has been completely wrecked on a global level.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Absolutely.
And it's starting to come back. But for like 3 or 4 or 5 years, because COVID started in 2020, right? So you're talking last 3 or 4 years hard of that interaction. Oh, and guess what? Okay, cool. Well, what's porn? Non face-to-face interaction.
Absolutely.
It's via a screen. It's a Zoom. It's just an inappropriate Zoom link.
Everything's objectified with porn. There's no real relationship or human connection. And I'm going to share a quick story. They actually did a study, and they put rats in a cage, and they would give them two options. They would isolate the rats first, and the two options were water, regular water, and then the other one was morphine-laced water. In that
morphine-laced
water. So in that environment, what do you think the rats would choose?
Well, morphine.
Yeah. So one guy, Bruce Alexander, looks at
it's an addictive drug, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Morphine? Absolutely.
Yes. Like it's
for sure.
Like, yeah. Make sure we're on the same page. Like those that don't know, don't forget. Now, I also say this, I make fun of myself because I'm in this Gilbert White male Mormon entitled bubble, right? Like this bubble of the LDS, and it's okay. I try to get out of it as much as I can, but it's a thing. It just is.
Yeah.
But like people don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
They don't know what morphine is.
Some people don't.
Like what's cocaine? They've seen it on a movie once on accident. They don't know what it is.
No.
They don't know what it does. They don't know that their neighbor down the street does it 3 days a week. That kind of crap. So
absolutely.
Morphine is an addictive drug.
Very addictive drug. Okay. Yeah. My mom.
So you have morphine laced bucket water, and then just traditional,
just regular
Dasani.
Water.
Okay.
Yeah. That they had choices with, right?
Sure.
So they're all isolated, and in that
rats,
not
humans.
Yeah. Rats are just like humans. They're very socially connected, right? So that's why they're used in these experiments.
Okay.
So in that isolated situation, the rats would choose morphine-laced water every time, and there would be an overdose, and they would die. So Bruce Alexander saw this experiment and said, wait a second, that's a horrible experiment. Let's do something different. He created what's called Rat Park. Rat Park had hamster wheels, girl and boy rats, all kinds of things for the rats to do. He put morphine-laced water on one side, regular water on the other. Not once was there a rat overdose, and very rarely, if ever, did the rats choose the morphine-laced water. And guess which gender chose
male?
The morphine? No, female.
For reals?
Well, yes, but it wasn't to addiction, but it was just experimental, I guess.
Huh.
So yeah.
So you're telling me that you had neural water and then morphine water and then
hamster wheels,
exercise,
girl and boy rats, all kinds of things for the rats to do, right? So when you look at that, and I broke it down, and I looked at how I overcame my addiction, because I was 25, I struggled with a crack cocaine addiction. I moved to Wisconsin to get to know my dad, because he wasn't a part of my life growing up. I grew up a mostly single parent home, and then my mom married.
But no dad, no father figure. No father. We're gonna get that in a second too, by the way. So
and this is an important thing, because a lot of guys don't have a dad in the home, and there's statistics around what happens to fatherless kids, right? So this is why
they're staggering.
Absolutely.
Like, don't look into it. It's depressing.
It is depressing, which is why we need to show up,
bring it back,
be better dads, and actually be an example of what that's like. And so when I moved in with my dad, the first week I got there, I got a phone call from my childhood best friend's mom. I hadn't talked to her in like 13 years. She calls me up, tells me she's been having these dreams about me and that the Spirit told her that I was ready to receive God in my life. And I'm like, okay.
And you're like, hold on, let me get a hit real quick before I tell you.
I wasn't then.
Okay.
And I smoked crack cocaine. I never did the shooting up. But
that's so much better, by the way.
Yes, it is way better. And no, it's not.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, so like I was sober at the time, you know, and I was hopeful, right? And I was living with my dad, thinking that maybe I had all my issues because he wasn't a part of my life.
Let's back up a little bit. How'd you get sober? You go from being addicted to crack cocaine.
This is it. Like I'm telling this story of how I got sober.
Okay.
So 9 months later, after moving to Wisconsin, getting that phone call from my childhood best friend's mom, her planting a seed.
Okay.
9 months later, I got into the same industry I was in before, which was I was in the health club industry, sales and management. And then I fell back into my addiction again. Next thing you know, I'm on the streets of Wisconsin. And I'm reduplicating everything that I was doing in Tucson. Because wherever I went, there I still was. Nothing in my life changed except my location.
One of my favorite sayings, you are the common denominator in every relationship.
Yeah.
So Jason,
and it's Jason, by the way. No
Jason,
H.
Jason, the addiction dude in Tucson. Oh, I'm gonna uproot myself and move somewhere else to change.
I'm gonna run.
Moves to Wisconsin or across the country.
Yeah.
Completely different climate.
Yeah.
And the same Jason is still addicted.
Yeah.
Because Jason didn't fix himself in Tucson.
That's right. It's an identity thing. This is an identity thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
And there's friends and family that I know personally that are going through that right now. Multiple divorces. I'm like, dude, you haven't fixed yourself. Mm-hmm. I was like, let me guess what your third marriage is going to turn into. I'm just going to guess.
Yeah.
Did you work on yourself? Did you go to therapy? Did you get professional help? Did you work on yourself? Did you find God? Are you working on personal development? No.
Yeah.
And then the victim mentality. It's like, oh yeah, you're toast.
Yeah.
Until you understand it and recognize it. Okay, so that 9 months, you're on the streets.
I'm on the streets.
Back to using again.
Yeah. Well, I am using. That's why I'm on the streets.
That's on the streets.
So 10
funny
days.
How correlation between those two, right?
Exactly. So I'm out there for 10 days. No one knew where I was. I'm ready to take my life. I walk into a Taco Bell and I see a guy pray over his food. And it reminded me of that phone call that I had gotten 9 months prior. So I checked myself into a homeless shelter. I got this glimmer of hope. I'm like, you know what? This God thing, you know, my grandma was a saint. She was just amazing. Loved all of her kids, regardless of what they went through. She didn't drink. She lived with an alcoholic husband that sexually, physically, and verbally abused all of their kids. And yet she still loved on everyone, regardless of who you are and what you did. And so I had a perfect example of what, you know, someone that was, that could see the best in you.
You had an example.
I mean? Yes.
You had plenty of other examples. Yeah, exactly. You only had one good one.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so, so anyway, so I check into this homeless shelter. In order to be there, you had to listen to these sermons, right?
Sure.
And I remember them reading from John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And just this, I started building this hope and foundation. I called up because she challenged me to seek out the missionaries, right? And so I call up these Mormon missionaries, the Church of Jesus Christ missionaries, and I started learning about the church. And I felt something that I hadn't felt since I was a little kid. Because I feel like all of us have this light of Christ in us, you know, this, you know, and once we make some poor choices, it's like it kind of, we distance ourselves from it. We distance ourselves.
It gets quieter.
It. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I felt something, and I knew that I knew that I found what would help me, and I knew that I needed to, you know, get baptized. So I did, you know, and the crazy thing
Were you still in the shelter when that happened?
No, I moved back. I went back home. So like for me, when I was in my
Did you go to rehab?
Not then,
Okay.
But I did several other times after, because I fell back into my addiction again. Like I wish I could say that I got baptized and everything was perfect, but there was some things that I needed.
You get baptized and all of a sudden it fixes all your problems?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Well, here's the thing. It's like I knew God forgave me, I still needed to clean up some things with some other people. But most importantly, I didn't forgive me. I had a little girl that wasn't a part of my life at this time because of my poor choices. And so, fortunately, her mom married a guy in the Air Force. So they were stationed in Turkey. So it made sense that I wasn't in her life at that point. So she never saw a life without me, without that understanding, right? So meaning it gave me time, like God, actually, that was a blessing.
Yeah.
That God allowed me to
work on yourself. I'm going to put this away.
Absolutely.
Work on yourself.
Yeah. And so moved back to Tucson, and I'm starting to help out a buddy of mine. I'm like, hey, this is how I am, helping myself. I found God, and, you should learn about it. Right. And so, one day, he's learning about the church, and then comes over to me, my house one day, and brings a bunch of drugs and alcohol, sits across from me. And it's like the adversary sitting across from me. It's like Satan sitting across from me. And he says, I don't think you've changed. And I was really fragile at the time, and it really was hurtful to me, and I ended up using with him that night, and my addiction just went even worse because I knew better, right? I just received this light in my life, and I turn away from it. And so there was
back from Wisconsin to back to Tucson.
Back to Tucson.
Fresh slate, ready to rock and roll. Yeah. But you still hadn't overcome certain personal things.
Yeah, there was still an identity. I was environment. Yeah. This is where people got to understand your environment and who you hang out with is everything. Vital.
Is everything.
It is.
Oh my gosh! We could do a day workshop on like your environment and your circles.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, that's like I don't hang out with people that I don't hang out with people that drink, let alone do hard drugs.
Right.
I'm like, why? It's like because I don't want to. I detract it. There's like attraction, and I don't know if that's a word, but like detraction, right? Like unattraction. Like I like anybody that they're like, oh yeah, Jason would never use. Like why? Because that's who I am.
Right.
Because you watch me and see who I am. Like somebody brought me alcohol, I'd be like, you're a freaking idiot. Or somebody brought me freaking cocaine, I'd be like,
because you know who you are.
Yeah.
Right. Your identity is rooted in who you are.
But like your identity, your personal internal self-confidence and identity was still not founded.
Absolutely.
And not strong enough.
Right.
And so an opportunity
to overcome
came.
That. Yeah, absolutely.
So that night you tank again.
And then I tank again. I move up to Tempe, Mesa area. I was in and out of halfway houses. I was in the auto glass business. I was the guy at your car wash.
Single?
Fixing windshields, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, still single. I couldn't attract, anything in my life at that time. I did have a girlfriend. She wasn't of the same faith, so we just never connected on that front. And she really didn't know my addiction, how bad it was.
Sure.
And then because I would go on the streets of Phoenix, I would get my drugs there. And so I'd be gone for like 3-4 days. People wouldn't know where I was. And I'd come back again because I'd spent all my money, and this cycle of, like good for 3 weeks to a month. And then fortunately and unfortunately, my work kept taking me back. So, because I was the best at what I did, right? So, and yet,
he uses, but when he's not using, he's a gangster. What's that movie with the black guy, Denzel Washington, where does cocaine, but he's a pilot?
Oh yeah,
and he flips upside down, flight lands it perfectly, but you're on cocaine when you did it. He's like, bro, I saved 300 people on his plane, type deal. So yeah, it's funny. That's totally. Hey, I use, but I'm not using. Like I'm your goat.
Yeah,
that's terrible. Anyways,
and so I got arrested downtown because I would be on the streets. A bunch of people that shouldn't be in my vehicle. I'm this white guy driving around with a bunch of other people in my car
that you don't know.
And I get pulled over finally, because they saw me there all the time, and they would let me go. They would say, "Hey, get out of this area. Hey, get out of this area." So many times. Finally, they just said, "You know what? We're going to arrest you." So went through the horseshoe, did all that, got put on probation. I violated probation because I wasn't clean on my tests, and I got put in Tent City. And so I was in pink underwear, striped outfit, Joe Arpaio's Tent City. This was in January. And the first 2 weeks I was in there, I was in the regular Tent City where you had to wear the full garb. And then you had jobs. My job was it was kind of the coolest job that anyone could have. I got to go to the firing range and pick up all the shells. Right. So that's what I did. But, I was different. I wasn't a cook. I mean, there was a lot of other jobs that you didn't want.
Sure.
Right. And so that one was just a cush, easy one. And then I was supposed to do in-person rehab. And I had already done rehab before that. I did Chandler Hope and stuff. And nothing was working. Right. I do believe that Jesus Christ is the answer to all of it. Right.
100%.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, so I did get work furlough, so I could actually work during the day, regular street clothes. Nice. And I was bunked next to a guy that struggled with the exact same type of addiction, right? He was just like me, convert to the same church, struggled with his addiction again, and me and him are bunked next to each other.
Don't tell me who it is. I probably know who it is.
Lance Van Horn is his name.
Okay.
Yeah, so... we actually read the Book of Mormon. We read the scriptures for the first time.
Okay, hold on. So we gotta break this down. It gets me because you went to Wisconsin, started using, come back to Tucson, and you find a friend that you thought was a friend, and that literally just, instead of bringing you a Book of Mormon, brought you alcohol and drugs, and you went and rolled with him, and then you're literally in prison, in jail. And somebody comes and says, yeah, same opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Just a different object or product was put in front of you.
Yeah.
And you two are together like, hey, like, let's work on this together.
Yeah.
You change your circle.
Yeah.
While in prison.
Yeah.
Which 99% of the time is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Normally you go there, you get worse, not better.
Yeah.
And yes, you can use in
prison.
prison.
It depends on what prison. Like, fortunately, again, we were able to work during the day. So we had kind of a regular life. We just had to check in at night,
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really prison. It was, jail,
Sure.
But a lot of the guys in there were all alcoholic, they either had a DUI or whatever, right? Those were the types of people that were in work furlough. But yes, the environment, I could have fell into any one of my.
You could have gone to the cell to the left, cell to the right, and they're using. You and I both know that. There's no bullshit there.
Yeah, that's right. But I chose this, and I always wanted this, right? But there was just something in my identity at that time that just kept pulling me back. And I've come to understand it as forgiveness of self, right? I finally forgave me in that part. I read the scriptures. I read about Nephi, Psalm of Nephi, the prophet. He's talking about how wicked he is. I'm like, wait a second. A prophet talking about how bad he says he is? And I'm like, I feel that way all the time. I never felt like, I felt everyone in the church was perfect. And here I am coming and I'm like, I'm this imperfect person. And you soon realize that we all have our demons, we all have our challenges, and everyone's got a different one.
Yes.
Right? But we're all dealing with something. That's part of our plan.
One of my favorite stories, it's funny you talk about that. Or interesting you talk about that. One of my favorite, I don't know where it came from. It was, I'm assuming a conference talk, but it talked about how this guy would come and smell like cigarette smoke. And just smell. Have you heard this before?
Yeah.
Smell like cigarette smoke. Comes in. Right. Comes to sacrament meeting. Sits down. And from 10 feet away, this dude reeks like cigarettes. Reeks. And clearly, you go into LDS church building, there's no cigarettes there, and nobody smells like that, right?
Yeah.
But this guy does. And I don't know if it's just that one time or multiple times. And this person, one of the board members there, goes and talks to the bishop and says, dude, this guy like freaking reeks. It's distraction. It's like ridiculous. Like, what are we going to do? Bishop, what are we going to do? And he said, be grateful your sins don't stink. And I was like, and I'm sure I twisted it a little bit, but the principle of it is still the same.
That's it.
And then the other one's like, what's your favorite sin? Because like some it's cocaine. So it's like, well, mine's not cocaine, but mine's infidelity, or mine's porn, or mine's a screen.
Right.
By the way, like adult men addicted to gaming. I didn't know that was a thing. Talk about like the bubble. I got exposed. I didn't get exposed to that. I've been involved in conversations of drugs and abuse and all that kind of stuff recently with just church stuff. And I'm like, there's guys that like no porn addiction, no fidelity issues, no nothing, but they game 30 hours a week. They'll come home, ignore their spouse, ignore their kids, and they'll game from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Roll out of bed, lethargic, tired because they go to bed at 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
And who's not getting their attention and time?
The ones they love most.
Yeah.
The ones that love them the most.
Yeah. And
So like I said, it's not. We think like, oh, cocaine. It's like my family doesn't do that, dude. It ain't. It's
not about what it is.
Yeah, it's this thing right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And like I said, it could be just be a game instead of you watching porn. It could be you doing, get a controller. You know, it's like the principle is still the same. What distraction is preventing you from becoming the best version of yourself and reaching your true potential? Yeah. Okay, so during
this time in Tent
reading.
City. Start reading the scriptures. I was 27
Still
or 28.
Single?
Oh, yeah, single. Yeah, and there's no way I was attracting anything. Well, again...
a Mormon user, that's a niche.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So...
but yeah, so still single, not married yet. And during this time, I actually created habits that I found were extremely important in who I am today, right? I was working out every day. They didn't.
How important is working out?
Oh my gosh, it's vital. Like if you're not doing it, then and you look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's how intentional do you want to be? This is our temple, right? How well are we taking care of the things that actually matter most?
Sure.
The things that we eat determine our emotional state too, right? Most people don't realize how important food is. To how we feel, how we show up in the world, our energy. I went to a lot of Tony Robbins events, and the last day is all about nutrition at his UPW events, if you've ever been. Every other day is all about personal growth stuff, mindset, but the last day is all about nutrition. What are you putting in your body? Because if you're going to make all these huge changes, if you're going to have a successful business, you have to be in your best personal space from a mindset perspective, and that is part of your physical, how you take care of yourself physically. So that was vital for me, was that reading the scriptures regularly. I tell you, I know that reading the scriptures is what allowed me to overcome that addiction, because the scriptures became alive for me. I started to I learned about Alma, the younger, and how he was able to change. I'm like, oh my gosh.
He was addicted to cocaine.
He was.
This thousands of years ago, but if you had to use an analogy, that dude was a turd. Like that. Yeah. It's
absolutely.
And he was the son of the prophet.
Yes.
Right. Like that's,
totally.
And he was, but
yeah.
So,
yeah.
I want to say something because Grant Cardone talks about this in his book and says multiple times. It's just as hard to be an addict and to be homeless as it is to be a millionaire. Because when you were homeless, so my sister was homeless for like 2 years. Totally flipped her life around. She's killing it right now. Love it. Got her on 75 hard. She was drinking and smoking for like 15 years.
Wow.
She saw me do 75 hard like 3 or 4 or 5 times. On I think the 5th time, she's like. And I was like, hey, do it with me, do it. She's like, no, I love my alcohol, I love my cigarettes. I can't drink alcohol for 75 hard, right?
Right. Yeah.
And she hits me up. She's like, hey, I want to do 75 hard. I want to stop drinking. Will you do it with me? And I'm like, yeah. So I started doing it with her day 1. Day 2, my wife's like, in her 2nd trimester, she's like, can I do it with you guys? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Friggin' beast. She's never done it. So I've done it like 4 or 5 times by myself or with other people.
Yeah.
My sister does it. She hasn't smoked since. She doesn't drink since. Freaking awesome.
It changes.
But the point I'm trying to get at, and the lesson here is that the creativity and the amount of massive action and relentlessness, tenacity that you had to be a user and to be an addict, that same energy, if you just, instead of going left, if you were to go right, that tenacity, that resilience, that relentlessness, like dudes that like go that way, they have no ego. They will ask anyone for anything in any situation, any environment. It don't matter. Like, what if you were to flip that and use it for good?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To have an amazing marriage and grow, maybe own a business or be an amazing employee in a business, right? And like I said, have an amazing body and be fit and not be like obese like half the freaking planet, right?
Yeah.
Like that same energy and attention, if you just redirected that energy and attention for good, dude, you can like shake and bake the world. You can make some moves.
Well, and then it's like, okay, what kind of legacy am I leaving? Because at the end of the day, you know, and I love what Ed Milet says, is like our kids aren't taught. It's not what's taught, it's what's caught. Our kids
one of my
look
favorite
at
quotes.
what we do.
So one of my personal core values: caught over taught.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, and so how do we demonstrate what it looks like for us to be who we are? Like right now, you're demonstrating what that looks like to be a business owner, be intentional as a dad, right? Which wasn't always the case for you, right? I know it wasn't for me. You know, when I got sober,
I was a terrible dad to my first kid.
wow, and I'm still learning, right? I will never stop learning how to be a better father, right? And I know that I made mistakes early on, and I'm not sitting here blaming myself for stuff because you can't change the past, right? I have a framework for failures because we all have failures in our life.
Sure.
And so it's an acronym. So forgiveness, God, yourself, others. Acceptance. You got to accept the past. You can't do anything about it. Inclusion. Inclusion is one of those things that most people don't do. They do everything by themselves. You have to include other people in your healing journey.
Yes.
And then love yourself again. God, you know, others, and start really feeling what that's like. And that leads to understanding, reflection, and empathy. So now you can serve other people through what you just came through. So this whole failures model, we have failures so that we can help other people. When we're through the fire, how many people start something or do something because they just came through the most gut-wrenching experience of their life, and now they want to help other people through it? Weird, you know, but it's not.
Did you see the quote that went around and went viral the last probably month or two where it talked about that? I'm going to butcher it like crazy, but if I find it, I'll repost it when we do this podcast. But something along the lines of like, why'd you send me down that dark hole? Why'd you send me through that journey? Why'd you make me suffer and grow up in that kind of environment and the addiction, and then have me use, and then go to Wisconsin and then me do it there, and then come back and do it again before I, turned my life around in Tent City and then got better from there. Why did I go to hell and back? Why was I in that dark place? He said, because you won't need a flashlight when you go get others. Something along those lines. Yeah. It's like, because you already know what it feels like. Yeah. So not if, but when those go there, you already know how to get there. You've already been there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of my other favorite words, and that's why like scale for me is huge, and it's very personal. I only have like 6 people in my coaching program. I could have 600 at $97 a month, but I don't want that. I want impact. One of my favorite words, impact. But the point with scale, it's all about relatability. That's why. Because I've almost gotten divorced, and I've had a really shitty partnership in business and embezzlement, and I've got my teeth kicked in, and I've been sued, and I've had ROC complaints, and I've had disgruntled employees, and I've had. They're like, wait, you already went through all that? Yeah. Will you show me what you did so I can not do it?
Right.
I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Exactly.
And so like, but the biggest thing, like parable of the talents, right? So you have 1, 2, and 5. 5 doubles, 2 doubles, 1 berries, right? And I'm like, and that's why we're doing this podcast. I don't need this podcast. I don't monetize it. I don't make any money off of it. I don't get anything. I mean, I'm having a great conversation with great people, right? Which is fills my cup for sure. Yeah. Screw the rest of the day. If I could have a good, solid hour-long conversation with somebody like this, my cup's full. I go to bed today, right now, and then wake up tomorrow and do something else, right? Yeah. But the point being is like, and I don't need the money from scale either, but like the impact that comes from that. Like, we are selfish. Those that have overcome that addiction or overcome that journey, you are selfish, in my opinion, if you do not share that experience and that journey with others, because you can save, and you're not Jesus Christ, not in that way, but you can save and help hundreds of thousands of lives.
I believe it's our calling. At the end of the day, it's what we were called to do, is that type of work, right? I love what Dan Martell says about a calling. What is between the C and the G in calling?
All in.
When you find your calling, you're all in. And that's what
I'm not smart either. It took me a minute. I'm like, see, all in. That's okay.
And so, anyway,
Yeah.
another thing that I think is important for all of your listeners right now is when I got out of Tent City, I had to, and I don't know how much time we have, but I had a mentor he was a bishop, right? I had met with several other bishops before that. This bishop was different. He lost a brother to a heroin overdose. And so he had a different level of empathy with me
And
than anyone ever
Can I say
had.
relatability?
Yeah, absolutely.
He can
Right.
be like, hey, did it?
Right.
That's so like, I don't, it's funny. It's funny, this whole story that you're coming about, because I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like addiction and heroin and cocaine and homelessness. And like, I don't,
Yeah, you haven't experienced it.
so I can't, I can empathize with you,
Right.
but I can't be really be like, oh yeah, I remember when I used. It's like,
Right.
I didn't use, right? I can be like, I know when I had a business partner F me over. Want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Boom, let's go.
Right.
I had random people reach out to me like, hey, what happened here, here, here? Like one of my, I can tell you who, because you know who it is. And so listening, but I have a friend who just dealt with that. And he called me and said, hey, I'm in the middle. Actually, I have two friends that you know both of them. And they're like, hey, like this happened with this business relationship. Like, what did you do? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What can, like, I'm already in it. Like, how do I prevent it? How do I make it hurt less? How do I get out of it? How do I pivot? Whatever. Because I'm relatable. Right?
Yeah.
But like when you're relatable to people, you got to share that journey, because people need that community and they need that togetherness, that bishop, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and again, this is where a lot of guys, because we have a church culture that, we know that we need to let some things out, right? And we have a mechanism to be able to do that.
Sure.
Like we meet with our bishop, we, let go of some things that we're hanging on to.
Sure.
Most guys don't have that. A lot of the guys that are listening to this, they don't have that kind of an environment. And so,
Especially when they're religious or active.
absolutely, that's right. Right. And so I went to an event with Steve Weatherford, and there was like 600 guys in this room. And before the event even got started, they put us into like these 30 group men, where we had about 20 of us that were in these group of men of 30. And the people that were leading the groups would come in and they would share something with the group. This is how we started the day. The most deepest, rawest thing that ever happened to them that no one else knows about. And we started, everyone was letting go of something, right? And I think there's power in that. So I tell my story all the time. I don't keep it as a secret. I openly share it, to your point.
Sure.
It's important to do that because I think people will then open up. It's like, oh my gosh, if he shared that with me, I can tell him about this. You know what I mean? Because like he's being open with me, even just with Amy. I started off with that, and then next thing you know, we're having deep, dark conversation, and she's awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
And so this is what I think more is needed of this type of environment where we can talk about. It's not the proverbial mask of perfection that, that everyone sees on Facebook. It's about, hey, what's going on? It's not to just air out dirty laundry and just live in this emotional stuff, but how do we let some of this stuff out? How do we have other people that are going to lift us up and not kick us while we're down, and say, hey, it's okay. I felt that way too. And so now we feel like we have someone that is relatable, right?
It's funny. I love what you're saying. We're going to wrap up here in a minute, but the fact that and says like, hey, good morning. How are you? I did it yesterday too. Our skill mastermind, it's in person, right? Every 2 weeks. And I said, just like I was saying examples, like, hey, how are you doing? And two guys, both at the same time, both said, what's the response?
Good. Okay.
Literally,
Yeah.
no, good.
Good.
Literally that word. And are you really good? And then the next question is, Steve Valentine, one of my buddies, is like, okay, you said good. First of all, it's fictitious. It's not real. It's the programmed natural response to stop a conversation, because if it's like, I'm terrible, then one, it's awkward as hell, and you're like, okay, I don't know what to say. Or like, oh shit, we need to go have a conversation. Mm-hmm. But people don't want to have that conversation. And so they say good because it's like, okay, on to the next thing, right? It's just an acknowledgement of like, hey, like you're here, I'm here. Or we're on the same page, we're both here. But nobody wants to say that either because that's not cool and awkward. Yeah. But like, instead of saying, hey, what's the number one thing you're struggling with right now? Don't even say good morning. Hey, not how are you? I give two shits how you are.
Right.
We really don't care.
Yeah.
There's like, that's the realness and rawness that I bring to the podcast and to Scale is like, there's no filters. Apart from like talking about my sex life, other than that, like there's zero filters with me and my life. I will tell you anything and everything where I'm an amazing dad, an amazing husband, an amazing business owner, where I absolutely suck at being a dad, suck at being a husband, suck at being a business owner or a man. And I'll tell you it all. And I don't care because it doesn't change. Mm-hmm. If you have $300 in your bank account and you say I have 10, then you open up Wells Fargo, there's only 300 or 10,000 or 10 million or whatever. Right. It doesn't change. Yeah. Except for you think like putting a mask, I love that, putting a mask over you that's like you're going to save face with someone that doesn't give two shits about you. Right. Why don't you just tell them how you're truly doing? And so that's when those conversations like, hey, how are you? I'm good. Okay, now that you lied to me, right? It's like, what are you struggling with the most right now? Because people don't want to sit in their thoughts. They don't want to sit because it hurts and it's awkward. And it's embarrassing, and they've never made room for it.
That's interesting that you say that because one of the things that we're out to solve for is how do we help parents become proactive in their family, and make that a priority. Because at the end of the day, it's like I used to pursue, because, I'm 30 years old, just getting into business, and work became my new addiction. I replaced what I was doing with work now. And guess what took the hit from it? My family, my wife, my kids, right? I'm gone all the time. And then
you exchanged one addiction for another.
Absolutely. And that's what we do, right? And I kept telling my wife, it's like, hey, soon we'll get to this point where I will spend more time with the family. And if you're not doing it in the pursuit, you will never do it. And that's why how many divorces happen when the final kids leave the home, and then they just realize that.
We should ask Claude. We should ask Claude. I'm not going to do it right now because we're out of time. But like, we should ask Claude and be like, hey, what's the statistics of when the kids leave the house within 36 months? What's the divorce rate like? It's got to be freaking psycho. Yeah. Because it's you in your relationship with God, then your spouse, then your kids, then anyone and anything else. Right.
And that's not the order we
get that mixed up like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so where can they find out more information about the FAM Project?
Well, they can go to the FAM Project. We're launching several things right now. Tech is always takes longer than you hope it will. But we're doing an event. It's called FAM Fun Day. So we'll have the dates on there by the time, I don't know, when does this air? Is it?
Within 2 weeks.
Okay. Love to have your support in building that out because we want to get Arizona families, dads, moms, everybody together, and we want to launch this way of being more intentional.
It's in Gilbert.
How we do the world. It'll be in Gilbert, actually at Jake's Unlimited is where we're doing the event.
Gilbert and Baseline.
Yep, Gilbert and Baseline. They have a massive area that we can actually fit a lot of people, and there'll be a bunch of fun
What's the date and
things.
the time?
It's going to be October 3rd.
Okay.
And then it's going to be all day. It's a Saturday. So it's 9 to 5 is what we're doing. So
all day.
Yeah.
Bring your kids.
Yeah.
Bring your spouse.
Kids. Absolutely.
The activities for the kids.
Everything. Yeah.
And we have adult conversations on the side.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something that I can't let go before I let Jason go is being able to have those hard conversations. You have to make room for those hard conversations or those. They're not hard, but just the awkward ones.
Yeah.
Right? With your kids. That they need to happen.
Yeah.
And at a young age. Younger than you think.
Yeah.
Always younger than you think. Always before you.
The birds and the bees.
Yeah. Or they talk about on the business side, like, oh, when she I think I should let that employee go. The second you feel that, you're anywhere from 30 to 45 days late. Like statistically, it's like, oh, cool. Like, it's like, oh, I should let him go. And then you don't. That's even worse. But like once you feel that gut, if you go backtrack 30 days, they say 30 to 45 days, they've been checked out and doing, whatever.
Right.
But in the home, I learned this from my wife, my amazing freaking badass wife. Her and I struggled for a decade in this until I really truly understood she wants to feel seen and she wants to feel heard. And that will create a safe place for her to connect with me the way I want to connect. But she's like, if I don't feel seen and I don't feel heard, there's not a safe place to connect, to have that hard conversation.
Mm-hmm.
In your home, you can't just like be a douche or be physical or be loud or be whatever as a parent and then all of a sudden want to magically connect with your kids on that deep of a level. That ain't gonna happen. Mm-mm. It's not like a knife with an onion. An onion, if you cut through the onion, you're gonna kill. Like you can't cut through a human. The onion is layer by layer, and you have to be willing to create that safe place and be willing, help them feel seen, help them feel heard. And every time you do that, you unravel that layer of onion to where you can get down to really the good stuff, right? Like avocado, no pun intended, right? You get down to the avocado, you want to get to the pit, you got to cut it open, you got to get all the stuff out, and then in the core in the middle of it,
there's the hard shell around it with the mushy stuff in the middle with an avocado, and that's kind of like we are as people,
You'll never get to the pit without going through the shell and going through the other stuff first. Yeah. And that's the part that I feel like a lot of people in the home struggle with is they don't create a safe place. You could never connect with your mom.
Well, no one knows how to parent. Like no one knows how to connect. It's a learned thing, and no one. I think there's like $25 a year that people spend on family stuff. Oh, they'll spend all kinds of money on business stuff
and trips.
Yes, and trips and all this stuff that doesn't move the needle in how they show up in their home, and that's the most important thing. When you're on your deathbed, you're not going to say, "Gosh, I wish I would have done this in work." You're going to say, how did I treat the most important relationships of my life? What kind of a dad was I? That's the legacy that we should be pursuing. And that's what the FAM project is really all about. Family awareness movement. Let's become aware of the things that we need to be aware about. Let's come together and let's make family a priority and not an afterthought. Let's make it the thing that we're doing, and let's teach kids how to be entrepreneurial. I love that entrepreneurship is a thing. We're actually putting together a school right now to actually teach that. It's called FAM Academy, and we want homeschool families to be able to learn entrepreneurship. But guess who also needs to learn? Not just the kids, the parents, because they didn't learn any of this stuff. The skills that we want to teach kids, parents need to learn it too, because I didn't learn this in school.
Well, it's not taught in traditional school.
Yeah.
It's not taught in any religion.
Right.
It's not taught in any community, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a very, very small niche of that. Apart from entrepreneurialism, just like how to be a good parent. Like, where do you go find that?
No, you don't. That's right.
Because even like with the scriptures, Nephi and his bow, or Alma the Younger and Vision and Joseph Smith and Visions, like that's not how to be a better parent.
Yeah.
So the spirit and the principles in there will help you become a better parent.
Right.
But like even then, there's no like, okay, here's how to have a hard conversation with here's how to create a safe place for your kids. It doesn't like that's not in any standard works.
No, it's not.
Like 2026, right? Conference talks help and those type of things. But even then, it's surface. No offense, my opinion, surface level stuff. Yeah. But like I've had to learn through. I talk about like $25 a year. Like I have personally invested over $10,000 in the last 2 years and over 100 hours of therapy into myself and my family.
And what has that done?
Oh my gosh. One, saved my marriage.
Well, you're a different dude than you were 2 years ago. Like totally different.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we first met, not that there was anything wrong with you, but just you're more intentional about everything. Your body, the way that you show up with your wife, the relationship that I see you guys have, how you show up as a dad, how you do business. It's balanced now. Yeah. We call it the 6 F's: faith, family, fitness, finance, fulfillment, and fun. Right? You got to have a mixture of all of that.
Yeah.
And when you're balanced in those areas of life, there's the 7th F, which is freedom. Because now you can have freedom. And sometimes we think the constraints are a problem, right? But they're actually the solution. Right. You got to have discipline in some areas of your life and making so that you have this balance. So I love you, dude. You're a perfect example of how to do life and do it out loud. I mean, you don't hold back on anything, and I admire it.
As I tell people, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be the next bishop." I'm like, "Dude, it's like as long as I can drop the F-bomb from the pulpit and have a beard, I'll be the bishop." But if those two things like kick me out, like then I'm out. It's just I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change who I am to have a title or have a role in any church, in any community. I had somebody from on this funny note, I had a baseball team tell me we can't. You can't put your banner. We have to change your banner. And I was like, no. And I said, why? So because your banner says sexy roof status on it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Pull the banner. I'll take my money somewhere else. I'm not going to change who I am because you are so appalled or don't know what that word means with context. Mm-hmm. And that's so, appalling to the 10 to 12-year-old boys that see it. And I'm like, if you look up what it is, there's no tits, there's no bikinis, there's nothing. It's roofing. It's asphalt roofs. It's concrete tile roofs. It's entrepreneurialism. And, when you look it up and they're like, yeah, we're not okay with it. And I said, not a problem. I'll take my money elsewhere. I don't apologize for who I am. Yeah. I'm not perfect. I definitely have an ego and I own it. But I'm not going to change I don't change who I am in my house from on a podcast. You see it with my wife. Dude, my wife throws me under the bus in public. Why? Because she throws me under the bus at home. And so not under the bus, right?
Yeah.
She's willing to call me out on my shit, but she doesn't just we don't show up and everything's great and wonderful. Dude, we weren't even on the same page when we did our couples dinner mastermind, right? Dude, I don't care who you are. When are you ever functioning 100% on the same page with anyone or anything? Never. Yeah. So stop acting like it's all this perfect bullshit. It's not. It never has been and never will be. But that's why personal development, that's why scale is not the number 8. It's an infinity sign. Because you're always working on yourself, bro. You're always working on yourself. You're always working on your marriage. You're always working on your family. You're always working on your business. When does it stop? When you die. I remember my wife back in the day, not anymore. Back in the day, was like, when is enough? When is it going to be good enough for you? And I said, when I'm dead. And she either laughed or didn't think I was kidding. I'm like, my buddy Cam Bodden just sold his company for $98 million. Send on a couple bucks. He'll be okay. I think it lasted 30 days. And he's like, I got to do something else. Dude, because that's we're programmed to do and to help other people.
Absolutely.
When does that stop? When you die.
Right.
As long as you have a heartbeat, you are here to help and here to serve.
That's where the calling comes into play.
Dude, but embrace the calling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, we don't embrace it, right? We don't want to because it hurts or it sucks or it's awkward or it's inconvenient or, dude, it requires more time, more energy. Doing 75 hard. I do my workout at 11:30 last night. I go to bed till 12:30 because from 11:30
You're doing 75 hard again?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I'm on day 30. It's my 7th time doing it. Why'd you do it? So we're like, why are you doing it in the middle of summer, middle of monsoon season? I'm like, dude, that's the best time to do it, bro. It's a mental game. It's not a physical. My physical thing, I dialed in. I can proudly, humbly say that I'm.
You're there.
I'm doing okay. Yeah. It's a mental thing. Yeah. I literally just why'd you do it? I randomly on a random day just nope. Tomorrow doing 75 hard. I'm like, why? I'm like, cause I feel like I lost that mental edge. There's that next level that I want to get, that I want to keep going and getting and going and getting the Jesse Itzlers, the David Goggins of the world, that next level, man. You're you should always be chasing that next version of you. Yeah. Always. I'll end with this. I think I said 10 times, but Nikki T, Nikki T, obviously,
for sure,
talks about how, I don't know if it was a story or whatever, but I remember him saying, and he says it often, he's like, there's nothing more terrifying for him than going to the pearly gates and meeting God. And God's there, and then there's another guy next to him. And do you recognize who that person is? And you're like, no, I don't know who that is. That's who I wanted you to be. That is the best version of yourself that you could have and should have become, that I gave you the opportunity to become. Do you recognize, or how much do you recognize that person? And it could be a ghost, and you're like, I have no idea who that is. Or they're like, what's up, man? And you're like, God's like, hey, great freaking job. And there's scriptures well done, thy faithful servant, right? I think Joseph Smith. But that is our goal, to become the best version of yourself and reach your true potential. And is it selfish? Yes. But you work on yourself first, Then you work on your spouse and your marriage, and then you work on your kids, and then you work on community and business and religion and all those other things, right? But like, there's nothing. That's why Jason, why do you go 100 miles an hour? I'm like, dude, I'm terrified. Like, Kobe Bryant's gone. Love Kobe. I hate the Lakers, but love Kobe Bryant. Love everything he stood for. But I'm like, dude, he's gone. 40 years old. You don't know when your last day is. Yeah. So like, go all out, right? That fan project, like, go all out, make as much of an impact as you can, because you don't know if your last day is going to be when you're 35 or 105. You don't get to choose, and you don't know when that is. But like, until then, go all out. Where can they find you on social media? Where's the best way to get a hold of you?
Jason Howell, Facebook.
How do you spell it?
LinkedIn, JASHINHOWELL.
The H is silent, by the way.
Well, and just real quick, the meaning. I went to eat sushi one day, gave her my credit card. She's like, do you know what your name means in Japanese? I'm like, no. She's like, Ja means evil and Shin means mind. I'm like, evil mind. I'm like, thanks, Mom. No wonder I got into drugs as a kid.
Yeah,
and then
my
attorney about a year ago saw my name, and he says, and my nickname is Shinja, SHIN. So you just put the Shin on the front.
That's your nickname.
That's my nickname.
That's hilarious.
He's like, do you know what your name means? That name means in Japanese? I'm like, oh no. He's like, it means Christian believer. So transform myself, transform my name. We can all transform. It's just taking things and maneuvering them around. We all have the talents and abilities to do all things. And you letting your light shine gives permission to other people to do the same. I love that quote by Marianne Williamson. It's just amazing, because our greatest fear is not anything but who we can actually become. That is our biggest fear.
Love it. So if you are a man or a woman and you are struggling with addiction, maybe you have a kid that's struggling with addiction, or a family member or a loved one. If you are struggling in any capacity, you can always reach out to Jason. You can reach out to myself. We're not therapists, right? But we are relatable.
Yeah.
Right. To a degree.
Fam Central is the app that we're going to be launching. So look out for Fam Central. And it's not just for people struggling. I mean, even though we're all
it doesn't mean extremism. It's like, if I'm not addicted to cocaine, like absolutely. I can't be part of this. It's
exactly. No.
It was like, do you have one of these? Yeah. Bro, you're entitled. Like,
That's right. That's right.
We're all addicted to this.
Yes.
I am too. Yes. I average 7 hours a day on this. Now, I use it for good.
Yeah.
And I believe this is a very, very powerful sword.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
For good.
Yeah.
It can also fucking destroy you.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah.
And your family.
Yes.
So be careful. Be intentional.
Absolutely.
One of their favorite words.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Thanks.